Hello, my name's Carina, and in this podcast, Break Fear, Find Freedom, I have conversations with people just like you who have broken their fear and found their freedom, whatever that may be. And shows you how to do the same. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee or your running shoes, whatever makes you happy, and let the fun begin. Oh, by the way, come take my hand and let's go. The door's opening now. Hello, everybody. Today I've got Noel Alvarez with me, a most unlikely poet. And his story is very exciting, and he is such a talented poet. Let me read you, just give you a taste of what you are going to be hearing and listening to. So I'm going to read from Noel's book. Noel's got an anthology called Where Roses Bloom, and I'm going to read you a piece of one of his poems, and then you can understand the depth of Noel's work. And then we will talk to Noel, and that's going to be exciting just on its own. So let's just go ahead with this. So I'm going to read Beneath the Moon. Like distilled vodka, down smoothly you went, with a little burn, infatuated by your smell. Have your way, for to be with you I yearn. Skin so soft, like clouds in the sky, beneath the scarlet moon, you and I. As love takes hold, bodies intertwined, lips engulfed in kisses. While the moon glows, I caress your spine. Remember I do, the night I made you mine. Now for another one. And then we will speak to Noel. A gentleman's toast. To the lonely nights, they helped shape the character inside. To the heartbreaks, you taught me what true love takes. To the future misses, I will be what you need. Hearts are frail and protected is yours with me. So on that note, Noel, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today. And let's speak about Noel. Who is Noel?
Well, I'm a 36-year-old poet from Southern California, born in Palm Springs and raised in Oceanside, California.
Okay. Well, that doesn't say much about us. So how did you come into poetry? Like you're a 36-year-old male and you're writing love poetry. How did that even begin? How did you start with that?
It was while I was transforming my life. I'm a former crystal meth addict, and during my teenage years, really at the start of the age 15, I became addicted to crystal meth, and the next 10 years saw me going down a dark road to where I found myself in jail, incarcerated for the way I was living my life. And in all that, I went through, obstacle after obstacle. And it wasn't until I finally shed from my past that I was able to focus on what I want to do for myself in the future. And that's where I discovered poetry. I had, I had a thing for it, growing up, but, it soon, fell by the wayside because, I made the wrong friends and chose to go down the wrong path. But, in soul searching, I rediscovered that passion for poetry.
Okay, that's exciting. Now, I just want to go back a bit. You were a crystal meth addict, and that's quite a strong thing. I mean, how did you get out of that? That must have been really difficult. That you've actually got out of it, and you're here to tell the tale. So, what happened? What was the turning point to say that you were going to walk away? What happened?
It wasn't until I think it was January of 2009, when I was sitting in an inpatient drug program surrounded by 49 strange men, and some of these men were old enough to be my father. Some of them were old enough to be my grandfather. And just seeing that they were still struggling with addiction and battling the things that I was, I took a look at myself and I was like, you know what? I don't want to be there. I don't want to be here at 35, 45, 55, struggling with the same thing, you know. If you know, I always take a look at, I struggled, you know, 10 years with addiction, but to me it really felt like 20 years. I mean, that's how hard I fell into addiction. And I mean, I really made it hard for people to love me. You know, I really made it hard for my family and my extended family to love me. You know, pretty much everybody, you know, wiped their hands clean of me and didn't want nothing to do with me. And so it was, you know, sitting in that room thinking about, you know, my life, thinking about the people I had hurt, thinking about, you know, my mother and my father, you know, my brothers, you know, my aunts and uncles, you know, cousins, you know. And I was like, you know what, I don't want to keep doing this. I'm tired. You know, I was thinking of my grandmas, you know, on my mom's side, my dad's side. And, you know, I was like, you know what, I'm so mentally and physically tired. And, you know, I just, you know, I want to do something different. So it was sitting in that room listening to, you know, my counselor, Ricardo, speak, and seeing what he had gone through and hearing what he had gone through and seeing that he's now making a change and is doing something positive for himself, that gave me hope and inspiration. So it was, yeah, in that room.
Oh, okay. So that was a big blessing for you as well. And did you ever feel like once you got out, and how long are you clean now?
Going on 11 years.
Wow, congratulations. That's pretty awesome. But did
Thank
you
you.
ever feel in these 11 years to go back at any point that you had had enough and you wanted to just go back?
Um, you know, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I have thought about it. You know, I've thought about, you know, hey, where can I get, you know, something, and, you know, get high real quick, and, you know, where can I, you know, where can I go? And, you know, I always came up with the same answer, and it's nowhere, because, you know, I had cut all ties with anybody that I had knew in the past and that were living that kind of lifestyle. I really separated myself from them and really made it hard for me to go back to that, you know. And so, you know, it was that, and then in part, you know, tired of seeing the disappointment in my family's faces, you know, my mother's face, my father's face, you know, just tired of that, you know, disappointment in them, you know, of me, that, you know, I was just like, you know what, I can't, you know. And like I said earlier, I was just too physically and mentally worn down, you know. And I just wanted no more, you know. I didn't want, it was, you know, when I first started, it was fun, you know, and quickly the fun got taken out of it, and, the curtain was pulled back, and, you know, I saw what it really was, and it's destructive. You know, anybody that gets addicted to crystal meth, you know, becomes a totally opposite person, you know. And that's who I was. And, you know, it's very humbling. And, you know, so that's, you know, and thinking of that and keeping that at the forefront, it really, you know, it made it that much harder to even think about going back, you know. And so I was all in, you know. I had cut ties, I had cut the bridges, you know, and I was just all in on being a better person.
Mm, that's awesome. So what have you done in the 10 years?
I went to got myself back into college, you know. Wanting to get a career for myself was a big thing at the time, you know, when I first got out the program. So I ended up going to California College, you know, in Mission Valley, and tried to go for my medical specialties degree because I wanted to be a phlebotomist. And that didn't really work out. You know, I ended up finding myself, you know, living out of a car, working a graveyard job, and going to school during the day. And soon, you know, not having a place to stay took its toll on me. So I ended up dropping out of school, and, you know, just started focusing on, you know, getting myself back on my feet and get myself into a place, which I ended up doing. And it wasn't for like about another 7 months that I was, you know, faced with another situation of where do I go to stay, because things didn't work out with my roommate. And so I ended up coming back home with my folks. And from there, just really, you know, I took my time and thought about what I really wanted to do with myself. And so I was working graveyards again back at Shell. And I was like, you know what, I need to get myself back into school, you know. And this time I thought, I was like, you know what, I want to go into business. So that
Mm.
seems, more of a open spectrum versus, medical specialties, at least for me, because with my background, and it was going to make it hard for me to climb up in the medical field, given my background. So, with being an entrepreneur and having a business degree, there's really no template. There's really, it's trailblaze, really. And so, yeah, I went and got myself back into school, for business, and ended up getting my master's.
Wow.
And yeah, and it wasn't until
Congratulations. It's pretty cool.
yeah, it wasn't until 2017 that I rediscovered my passion for poetry. While I was doing all this, work and entrenching myself with all the schoolwork and all these essays that I needed to write, I, discovered, my passion for wanting to express myself, and poetry felt right under that line. I like the fact that there's no rule really on how to write in poetry. There's just so many ways to be creative, and that's what I look for in my poetry. I take things that I've been through, I take things that others have been through, I take things that I see, and I put that all together, and I put that in my writing.
Mm. That's beautiful. And so you published this book in 2020, right?
Yes.
So that's really exciting. How did you feel? How did you feel once you had published this book and realized how far you had come? Because I mean, you've come really, really far. How did you feel?
I felt like a great weight was lifted off my shoulders. I felt like for the past 10 years, I had been carrying a big old huge boulder on my back. And, when I got my first, when I got the author's copy of my book, it was very humbling. It was very emotional for me, because, I never saw myself being a poet, love poet at that. But here I am, and seeing my book, that was a validation for me that, I had done it. I had, shed my past, and now I'm this person. I'm no longer Noel the addict. I'm Noel the poet.
That's
You
pretty
know,
awesome. I can congratulate you on that. And the name of your book is Where Roses Bloom. It's like very fitting. I think it's a very fitting title for what you've been through and how this is probably your new beginning almost. So I really love that. How did you come about the title? How did you come about naming your book that?
uh, it was, as a poet, we tend to think a lot. I mean, that's the whole point of writing, being in your head, and trying to find words to use and whatnot. And so, I was just thinking about, where should I go with the name of this book? And it's like I took a look at, all the friends that I didn't keep in touch with, that ended up going down the right path, so to speak. And I saw what they were doing. Some of them are family men, some of them have good careers, and it's like, what? I started thinking, I was like, well, what? Not everybody blooms when they're supposed to. Not everybody, is becomes who they are when they're supposed to. Some people have, rough road. Some people have obstacles. Some people don't have it as easy as other people. And for that, they're late bloomers. And that's what I looked at myself as. I didn't, where I didn't see success in life in my 20s, I am now in my 30s, and it is what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that I'm not thankful for blooming. It's just that yeah, some people are late bloomers, and that's okay. And that's where basically I came up with the name of the book.
Oh, I love it. It's really beautiful and very fitting. And what other influences have you had? Like what books have influenced your life to get you to this point? Because of course you went through the rehab and all that, but still you've been clean all this time. How did you do it? How did you stay clean? How did you stay
Thank
on
you
the
for
right
listening,
track?
and thank you. I fed myself everything and anything dealing with personal development. I coming out of that drug program back in 2009, I knew I needed to be a better person. So, this time around, where, life had knocked me off my track and, got me stumbling, I got back up and was more serious this time. So, this time I bought every single book I could think of that would feed me positivity, from, Grant Cardone to Napoleon Hill to uh, Viktor Frankl. I really just, immersed myself in being a better person. So it wasn't really until I started reading Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, where I found out that, love is the highest form of vibration. There's nothing higher than love, and especially when you want to go into creative mode and draw on, infinite skills, if you will. It's, there's no higher vibration than love. Napoleon Hill talks about how, prominent men in society have used love to get them where they were going. And so it's like, all right, well, let me take what I've been through, let me take what these guys are saying in their book, and let me put it together and let's see what we can make. And it's probably like the best thing I've ever done, because I was never a positive person growing up. I was always negative. Everything was negative, and so my state of mind just fed me anything negative, and that's how I fell further, right? So it's like this go around, I'm gonna feed myself everything positive, positive, and it was in those books where I found that, and so it's really been the best thing I've ever did.
Mm-hmm. And now, what books are you reading now? Or are you just rereading those? Or are you reading anything exciting now?
Right now, well, I'm pretty much really kind of like rereading every book that I have right now. I have about 20 books in poetry, and so from Oscar Wilde to Emily Dickinson to Lang Leave, Shel Silverstein, of course, big Shel Silverstein fan. I read those, and then to keep my mind, sharp in going forward instead of, being stagnant and going backwards, I still, read my personal development books, from Bob Proctor to, Viktor Frankl to, Grant Cardone, because Grant Cardone, the reason why I really stuck to Grant Cardone, because he's a big guy in the business world. Everybody knows him in the business world, and the reason I took to him was because of his story. He battled addiction, he struggled with the lifestyle, and he made something of himself. He didn't become who he was until the age of, I believe, 33 or so. And so he was a late bloomer as well, and that's why I took to him and all he has to say. And so I feed anything that has to myself with anything that has to do with Grant Cardone. Napoleon Hill is a big one for me too. Anything Napoleon Hill wrote, I try to feed myself that. And there's another book I like, As a Man Thinketh. That was an awesome book for me to read too, and it just really because one thing I found myself struggling with was pride, and it's in that book, it shreds that whole notion apart. It really, it scorns the prideful man, really, what that book does. And it was really, eye opener for me. So, anything with personal development's high on my list.
That's good. Well, you can see you've come so far. So now I know you've got a few exciting projects on the back that you're working on that, but you don't want to tell us. You like keeping them under covers for a bit, so we won't discuss those. But what else is there? What else is in the cards and in the future for Noel?
Continue to write first. That's a must. I love writing, so I'm just gonna continue feeding myself as much poetry as I can and write as I can. But at the same time, I want to give back, to the community, in the sense that I want to be a voice for those that don't have a voice. I want to give inspiration and hope to those that are struggling with what I used to struggle with, and that's addiction. And so I see myself getting involved in the community and going to drug programs and sharing my story, and really looking to touch base with people that are looking to change themselves but just don't know how to go about it. Because not every person in rehab is gonna go back to what they're were doing. I mean, half of them do, and I've seen it. I've seen it. But there's people there that want to change, just they don't know how to go about it, or they just do not have a strong support group. And so I wanna be able to give back in that man. I want to give somebody hope like I was given. I want somebody to receive inspiration just like I received it. And so I really see myself, doing that as well. And, public speaking, I also see myself, at opening a couple businesses, because I didn't go to a business school for nothing. You know what I mean? I didn't get a master's with an emphasis in entrepreneurship for nothing. So it's like, I want to expand in that area, and just do all I can possibly can. Just sky's the limit.
Exactly. In fact, the sky, it's further than the sky, right? So, Noel, what kind of businesses are you thinking of doing?
Clothing, apparel. There's personal development, coaching, like I said, public speaking. And even I want to even start a publishing company so that I can give a platform for up and coming writers that are finding it hard to get noticed. I want to be able to provide a platform for them as well, so that they can get heard and get discovered.
Wow! So you've got a lot of plans for the future. That's really exciting.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. I mean, like like we were speaking and talking earlier. Yeah, sky's the limit. I mean, I really held myself down, and I really did not give myself a chance growing up. And it's like, that's not going to happen this time around. You know what I mean? I know what age I am, and I know how, there might be some people who think that it's impossible, but that's not going to be me. I'm not going to think that way, because I can't afford to think that way. Because once I start thinking that way, then, soon enough, I might find myself back in addiction,
Yes. So in some strange way, addiction was a weird kind of blessing, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you make the wrong choices to get to the right places, and so yeah, it's a choice. When I look at it, young in my life, that I made, and it was a wrong choice, but it was a life learning lesson for me. And some of us learn the hard way, and some of us learn the easy way. And I just happen to be the one of those that learned the hard way. And nevertheless, I learned, though. And that's all that matters. And so yeah, it's just taking each day for what it is, being thankful for that day, and just only worrying about that day. And when the next day, if we see it comes, then it's back to doing the same thing. Back to writing, back to reading, back to feeding everything that's going to make Noel a better person.
No, that's pretty cool. And it's really I have to congratulate you and celebrate that how far you've come, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people just never get out of addiction, and it's very sad. So it's really great to have you as a shining light, to show people that there is possibility, to show them that what, you can get out. All you need is a helping hand.
Yes.
Yes, so that's very exciting just on its own. So, well, okay. So where can people find you, Noel?
Well, for starters, you can find me on Instagram. I mean, that's the main channel I operate on social media form. You can find me at Noel_Alvarez1, and you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn. And those are the only two channels I really mostly operate from. So you can get in touch with me on either of those platforms.
Oh, that's really cool. And what about your book? Do you have links to your book on your Instagram?
Yes. You can click it's dorrancebookstore.com. You can click, that's my publisher's website, and you can find my book there, or you can search Amazon and you can find my book on Kindle or through Amazon.
Okay, that's very good. And we've got something exciting as well to tell the listeners, is that Noel is going to be giving away a free When Roses Bloom copy of his book. And I have to say, it's a really exciting book. It's full of emotion and really life. And you can feel his feelings, but also you can relate to it because we all go through love, hate, sadness, and all these emotions. So, Noel, you are going to give us a copy of your book, right, to one of the listeners.
Yes.
Yes, we are going to have a competition on. We'll have all the details at the bottom here, where you can win one of these awesome books. So we'll have just check out the link below, and you can win this book, and that is like cool on its own.
Yes.
So Noel, thank you. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Just, if anybody's out there listening that, they feel like there's no hope, or like they can't be anything better than what they are, that's a lie. You can always be better than what you are. And, if you're struggling, just, keep moving forward. Don't give up, because, you only lose when you stop fighting, And so if there's anybody out there struggling with anything, just keep fighting, just keep fighting.
Thank you, Noel. That's very good advice. Thank you. And thank you for your time, and it's been a pleasure. And
thank you,
we'll
Carina.
probably have a follow-up soon to share all your exciting new projects.
Yes, I would like to.
Yes. So thank you so much, and we will chat soon.
Okay, thank you, Carina.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
For listening right to the end. Now, if you want to know more about breaking fear and if it's keeping you stuck, check out the quiz. The details are below. Subscribe so you can hear some more of this delicious conversations. And then watch out for my book, The Clank of Chains, which is coming out very soon. Thank you again for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye.